My wife got promoted and handed me a list of house rules since she was now the breadwinner. I smiled, congratulated her, then handed her my resignation letter and relocation papers for the VP job in Singapore I had been secretly declining for 2 years. $340K vs her $87K. My wife Madison, 30F, is in finance at a mid-size company called Meridian Financial. We have been married 5 years, and honestly, it has been pretty solid until this week turned into a complete shit show. Let me give you the backstory so this makes sense. Madison's been working toward this director of finance promotion for 8 months. Really grinding. Staying at the office until 9 p.m., weekend work, stress eating. I have been super supportive, picking up all the slack at home, cooking dinner most nights, doing laundry, grocery shopping, basically being the good husband while she chased her career goals. Madison started at Meridian 5 years ago as a junior analyst making $45K, worked her way up to finance manager at $65K. And this director role would bump her to $87K for her. This was huge. First, real leadership position. First time breaking into senior management. Meanwhile, I have been a senior marketing manager at a tech firm downtown for 3 years, pulling $72K. Stable job, good team, decent benefits. Madison always said she wished I was more ambitious, but honestly, I was comfortable. Here is what Madison didn't know though. About 2 years ago, this CEO named James Wong from Singapore Technologies started reaching out. They wanted someone to lead marketing for their entire Asia-Pacific region. VP level, based in Singapore. First time he called, I told him I couldn't relocate because Madison was building her career here. James is persistent though. Every 6 months, like clockwork, he would reach out. Same role, better compensation, each time. Last offer was $340K base salary, $85K housing allowance, signing bonus. Each time, I would politely decline without mentioning it to Madison. Why stress her out about opportunities I wasn't going to take? Stopped at QFC, grabbed champagne and ingredients for her favorite pasta. Got home around 6:30. She was already there opening wine. Derek, I cannot believe it. I am finally a director. $87K. I make more than you now. She was bouncing around the kitchen, so excited. Patricia said. The board was impressed with my quarterly forecasting presentation. I nailed it. We celebrated that night. Dinner, champagne, watched her favorite movie. She kept saying I am the breadwinner now and laughing. At the time, I thought it was just excitement. Saturday morning, I woke up to Madison, already dressed making coffee. She had this different energy, more confident, standing straighter. You know what, Derek? This feels really good, being the higher earner. Then she goes, I have been thinking we should restructure how we make decisions around here. I was still half asleep, making eggs. What do you mean restructure? Well, I will be making more money now. That should come with more say in how we run things. That got my attention. Madison, of course we are partners, but partners with different earning levels. That dynamic matters. Sunday was weird. Madison spent most of the day on her laptop, planning, she said. When I asked what she was planning, she had just say household improvements and changed the subject. Sunday evening, she sits me down in the living room with this serious tone. Derek, I want to have an adult conversation about our relationship. I am going to be making more money now, $15K more than you. I think that should come with more authority in our decision-making process. But think about it logically. Higher earnings typically correlate with better judgment, more responsibility. I just proved I can earn more than you. Maybe that means I should have more input on big decisions. This was not the Madison I married. The Madison I married was collaborative, thoughtful, believed in equality. This version sounded like she had been reading business leadership books. Monday night after dinner, she presents me with a printed list. I shit you not. It was titled Updated Household Structure and formatted like a corporate memo. I am reading this thing out loud in complete disbelief. Major purchases require Madison's approval. Cars, vacations, electronics, over $500. Derek handles more household tasks since his job is less stressful. Date nights and social events planned around Madison's schedule. Financial decisions go through Madison as primary earner. Derek's work travel needs Madison's permission. Madison, this reads like I am your employee, not your husband. She sits up straighter, using her new director voice. Don't be dramatic, Derek. I am just saying structure makes sense. You have always been more domestic anyway. I am clearly better with big financial decisions. I just got promoted to director of finance. Better with financial decisions? Madison. We have been splitting decisions for 5 years. And look where that got us. I am the one who got promoted. I am the one earning more now. Maybe it is time to acknowledge that I am the more successful partner. I stared at this woman I had been married to for 5 years, holding a printed list of rules for me to follow, and realized I didn't recognize her anymore. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the past 8 months. All those nights I cooked dinner while she worked late. All those weekends I handled errands while she prepared presentations. All the times I cheered her on, told her she was going to nail that promotion, supported her dreams. And this is what I get. A list of rules, because she makes $15K more than me. Around 2 a.m., I grab my phone and text James Wong. James, is the Singapore position still open? His reply came back immediately. Derek, perfect timing. Board just approved expanding the role to include Southeast Asia operations. $340K base. Now, when can we talk? We had a video call right then and there. James is this sharp, energetic guy in his 50s. He laid out the role, VP of Marketing for Asia Pacific, reporting directly to him, managing a team of 50+ across 6 countries. The compensation package was insane compared to my current situation. Derek, I have been trying to recruit you for 2 years because you are exactly what we need. Someone with vision but also execution skills. Your work on the Microsoft campaign caught our attention initially, but your strategic thinking is what we really want. I accepted on the spot. Wednesday night, Madison brings up her list again. So, have you thought about my household structure proposal? I really think it is fair and logical. I slide an envelope across the dinner table. Since you want to be the primary decision maker, I figured you should know about the decision I just made. She opens it up and starts reading. Singapore Technologies, VP Asia Pacific position, acceptance letter. I watch her face drain of color as she processes. $340,000 base salary, $85,000 housing allowance. Start date 10 days from today. Derek, what is this? I have been offered this role every 6 months for 2 years. But since you want to be the breadwinner with authority over our household, congratulations. You are now the sole breadwinner of this household. The meltdown was epic. You cannot just leave. We are married. You cannot make unilateral decisions. You mean like your house rules list? That is completely different. How is it different? Madison, you spent 1 weekend planning how to control my life. Because you make $15K more than me. I spent 2 years passing up opportunities that would have quadrupled my income because I wanted to support your dreams. But here is where it gets really interesting. Because what happened when her father walked in that night changed everything I thought I knew about my wife. Update 1: sorry for the delay, guys. Had to help my buddy Jake move and my back is killing me. You need to hear what happened next because this gets absolutely insane. So Madison's having her complete meltdown about me accepting Singapore, right? She is crying, hyperventilating, saying, I cannot make unilateral decisions. I am staying calm. Just sitting there repeating you wanted authority over an empty house. Around 9 p.m., her dad Bob shows up unannounced. Madison had called him crying, told him I was abandoning her for a job in Asia. Bob has never been my biggest fan. He is this old-school corporate finance guy. Retired executive. Always thought I lacked ambition. He storms through our front door ready to lecture me. Derek, Madison tells me you are running away to Asia because you cannot handle her success. That is pretty pathetic, even for you. Instead of getting defensive, I hand him a copy of Madison's updated household structure list. Read this first, Bob. Then tell me who cannot handle whose success. Bob puts on his reading glasses and starts going through it line by line. Madison, what exactly is this document? Madison starts backpedaling immediately. Dad, It is just organization. We needed better structure. Derek's being overly dramatic about some simple household guidelines. Household guidelines. Bob looks back at the paper. This says Derek needs your permission for work travel. Honey, the man has a career. I have been declining a $340 KVP position in Singapore for 2 years. Every 6 months. Same company, same offer. I turned it down every single time because I didn't want to disrupt Madison's career trajectory here in Seattle. Bob looks at Madison, then back at me. You knew about these Singapore opportunities, Madison. No. He never told me. But she is getting flustered, her voice going higher. Because every time I brought up any international opportunities, you would freak out about how it would derail your career timeline. Remember when Microsoft offered me that role in Dublin 2 years ago? You cried for 3 hours about how unfair it was that I had even considered it. Bob's starting to piece this together. He spent 30 years climbing the corporate ladder before retiring as CFO of a mid-size manufacturing company. He knows how these dynamics work, so let me understand this situation. You have been financially supporting this household while Madison built her career. You have been turning down opportunities that would have tripled your income to support her ambitions, and now she wants to manage your decisions. Madison's getting desperate now. Dad, that is not what this is about. It is about structure and efficiency, but Bob cuts her off. Madison. This list. This is how insecure people behave when they get their first taste of real power. I have seen it 100 times in corporate environments. Someone gets promoted and immediately starts establishing dominance instead of earning respect. That hit her like a physical blow. Her own father calling her out on her power trip. Then Bob asks me directly, when do you leave for Singapore? 7 days. Good for you. You have wasted enough time here. Madison loses her absolute mind. Dad, you are supposed to be on my side. You are supposed to support me. I am on the side of what is right, Madison. You got a $15 K raise and decided to lord it over your husband, who has been supporting you for years. That is not the daughter I raised, and it is sure as hell not the woman I thought you would become. She runs upstairs crying. Bob and I sit there in this heavy silence for a few minutes. Derek, I owe you a sincere apology. I genuinely thought you lacked ambition. Turns out you were just being loyal to someone who didn't deserve it. Thanks, Bob. That, honestly, means a lot coming from you. Time she learns who was really keeping the lights on around here. The next morning, Madison's acting like absolutely nothing happened. She is making coffee, humming, chatting about her day like it is any other Thursday. I am in my home office packing up my equipment, and she pokes her head in. So are we done with this tantrum now? I just stared at her. Tantrum. The Singapore thing. Very dramatic, Derek. But I get it. You felt threatened by my promotion. Men can be sensitive about these things. We can work through this, bro. The sheer audacity. She thinks this entire thing is just me acting out. Madison, I signed a legally binding contract. I gave my 2 weeks notice at work yesterday. International moving company comes Friday to pack my stuff. You can unsign things, Derek. Just call them back and tell them you changed your mind. That is when it hit me. She genuinely believed I would never actually leave, that I was too dependent, too comfortable, too scared to actually do anything bold. In her mind, I was bluffing with the Singapore job to get attention. She goes to work acting like everything's completely normal. I found out later she told her entire team that I was going through something, and she was being patient while I worked through my insecurity about her promotion. Her friend Claire called me that afternoon. Derek, Madison said, "You are having some kind of midlife crisis about her making more money?" Claire. Did she tell you about the list of house rules she made for me? What list? So Madison was spinning the story to make me look like the unstable one while conveniently leaving out the part where she tried to turn me into her household subordinate. Thursday afternoon, I am packing boxes when my phone rings. Unknown number. Is this Derek Sullivan? Yeah. Who is this? This is Patricia Chen, Madison's director at Meridian Financial. I think we need to talk. What the hell? Madison's boss wants to talk to me. About what exactly? About your wife's recent... behavioral changes, and about some concerning decisions she has been making since her promotion. But then I got that call from Madison's boss that made me realize this was way bigger than just Madison's ego trip. Update 2: car broke down Tuesday, so I have been dealing with mechanics all week. Finally got time to update. This story gets so much worse. So Thursday, I meet Patricia Chen at this coffee shop in Capitol Hill. Patricia's this sharp woman in her 50s, been at Meridian Financial for 15 years, worked her way up from analyst to senior director. She gets straight to business. Derek, Madison's promotion came with certain conditions that she apparently didn't mention to you. My stomach immediately drops. What kind of conditions? The director of finance role requires relocation to our Portland office within 6 months. It is a temporary assignment, initially 18 months minimum, possibly permanent, if her performance warrants keeping her in the expanded Pacific Northwest regional role. I am sitting there thinking, what the fuck? She never said anything about Portland. I assumed she had discussed this with you months ago. When I mentioned spousal career considerations during her interview process, she assured me you would be supportive of whatever move was best for her professional advancement. So this woman had been planning to uproot our entire life for her career, knew she would be forcing me to relocate to Portland, and decided the solution was to just control me with house rules, so I couldn't object when she finally told me. There is more, Derek. She has been dismissive with subordinates, made several comments about knowing her worth now, and honestly, some concerning statements about her personal life that have made people uncomfortable. What kind of statements? She told the entire finance team that marriage is fundamentally about power dynamics, and that she was restructuring her household to reflect her new professional status. The HR department flagged it as potentially creating a hostile work environment. I cannot even process this. She talked about our marriage at work multiple times, in detail, about how she was establishing authority at home now that she was the primary breadwinner. She used phrases like training and household management when referring to you, Derek. It made several people very uncomfortable. Patricia slides me her business card. I wanted you to know this because the Portland relocation is non-negotiable if she wants to keep this position. I drive home feeling like I am in some alternate reality. Madison's car is already in the driveway when I get there. She is in the kitchen making dinner, acting perfectly normal. Hey babe, how was your day? I picked up that Thai food you like for dinner. Interesting day. Had coffee with Patricia Chen. Madison freezes mid-motion. What? Why would Patricia want to meet with you? Madison, Portland relocation requirement for your new job that you forgot to mention. Her face goes completely white. Derek, I was going to tell you about that. When exactly? After you had finished restructuring our household, after you had gotten me properly trained with your rules list. It is not like that. It is exactly like that. You knew you would be dragging me to Portland in 6 months, so you decided to just break me in early, get me used to following your orders. She starts crying, but it feels manipulative now. I panicked. Okay, the Portland thing was scary. I thought if we had better structure at home, the transition would be smoother. Structure, Madison. You were training me to be obedient. You were conditioning me to defer to your authority, so when you dropped the Portland bomb, I had just go along with it. I didn't know how to tell you about Portland. I knew you would be upset, so instead you decided to make me your subordinate first. Friday morning, the international movers show up right on schedule. Madison's sitting on our couch in her pajamas. Watching these guys pack up my entire life into boxes. Finally understanding this is really happening. Derek, please. We can figure out Portland together. I will talk to Patricia about delaying the move. Madison, you have shown me exactly who you become when you think you have power over me. I don't want to find out what happens when you actually do have that power. I made a mistake. I was excited about the promotion and I got carried away. You made multiple calculated choices. You talked about controlling me at work, printed out rule lists, hid major life decisions from me, and planned my relocation without consulting me. That is not getting carried away. That is a pattern of manipulation. The movers are wrapping up our dining room table, The one we picked out together 3 years ago. Madison's watching them, and I can see her finally grasping that I am really leaving. What about our house? The mortgage? Your name's on it too. You are the director of finance now. You figure it out. The movers load the last box into their truck. I hand Madison the house keys. Enjoy being the boss. Madison, but as I am walking to my Uber with my suitcases, she runs after me and says something that stopped me cold. And now I am wondering if I have been completely wrong about everything that has happened. Final update flying out in 4 hours, but wanted to close this out since you guys have been following this insanity. So I am walking to my Uber. Madison runs after me in her pajamas, crying, and says, "Derek, there is something else you need to know about Singapore." I am thinking, what now? More manipulation tactics. James Wong called me 3 months ago. What the fuck? What do you mean he called you? He wanted to make sure I understood the opportunity he was offering you. He said you kept declining without even discussing it with me, and he wanted to be respectful of our marriage before making another offer. I am standing there on our sidewalk with my suitcase, like a complete idiot. You knew about Singapore for 3 months. He told me everything, Derek. The salary, the role expansion, how much he specifically wanted you for this position. He said you were the most promising candidate he had encountered in his 20 years of international recruiting. And what did you tell him? I told him you were supporting my career right now, and couldn't consider relocation. I asked him to stop calling you, bro. She actively sabotaged my opportunities for months, then got her promotion, and decided to control me with house rules. This was never about her feeling suddenly powerful. This was about keeping me trapped while she advanced her own career. I was scared, Derek. Scared you would take the Singapore job and I would be left behind. So you sabotaged me instead. I thought, if I could just get established in my career first, then maybe we could consider international moves together. As equals the Uber drivers honking. I am realizing this whole situation was way more calculated than I thought. Madison, you didn't just hide Portland from me. You actively prevented my career advancement for months. Then tried to use your promotion as justification to control me. That is not marriage. That is strategic manipulation. I know how it looks. It doesn't just look bad, Madison. It is bad. You sabotaged my career, lied by omission about your relocation requirements, and tried to condition me to be obedient. That is not panic or excitement. That is calculated control. I get in the car. Last thing I see is her standing in the doorway of a house she can barely afford on her own. Finally understanding what she would actually been doing to our marriage. Update from Singapore. Been here 2 weeks now. James Wong is everything he promised. Brilliant, supportive, genuinely excited about the work we are doing. The role is incredible. Managing marketing across 6 countries with a team that actually respects my experience. Got a serviced apartment in Marina Bay for the first month while I apartment hunt. Madison's been texting constantly, begging me to come back, promising she will change, saying she realizes she made mistakes. Her dad Bob called once to check on me. Apparently Madison's struggling with the mortgage payments and the Portland relocation ultimatum. Meridian gave her 30 days to accept the Portland move or forfeit the promotion entirely. Found out through our mutual friend Claire that Madison's been telling people I abandoned her for money. Amazing how she frames the story. Like I chose greed over love, instead of choosing freedom over systematic control and career sabotage. Look, I am not celebrating Madison's struggles, but I am not going back to being managed by someone who spent months sabotaging my opportunities. Then thought the solution was to train me like a subordinate. Some people mistake temporary advantages for permanent power. Madison thought making $15K more than me meant she could run my life. Turns out, while she was planning my household chores and blocking my phone calls, international companies were planning my future. Madison sent one final email yesterday. I know I messed up everything. I was scared of losing you to Singapore, so I tried to control the situation, instead of trusting our marriage. I sabotaged your career because I thought it was the only way to keep us together. I realize now that I lost you anyway by becoming someone you couldn't respect. That email actually helped, not because it changes anything, but because it shows she finally understands what she did wrong. That is it, guys. Thanks for following this mess. Singapore's got incredible Wi-Fi. Edit. To everyone asking, no, I am not reconciling. Yes, I am happy here.